A bus containing demon was moving at high speed on the road. When the bus passed through the territory, Hana immediately noticed something unusual. The bus was moving very fast on the crowded street, making the students on the bus feel very scared. The teacher immediately approached and reminded the driver to slow down a bit, but at this time, the demon had already possessed him. He ignored her words and continued to speed up. He even ran a red light and crashed into a car in front of him. The driver smiled with great satisfaction while the traffic was getting chaotic. Hana had discovered the target. She was trying to contact the other members of the demon hunting group to come and help. The bus was heading towards the construction site. Despite the worker's signal, the driver had no intention of changing direction. At that moment, Mayoke appeared with 2 iron bars in her hands. She threw them straight at the bus, but the driver dodged them. With the remaining iron bar, she stabbed the side of the car. Although she couldn't stop it, she was able to change direction and avoid a catastrophic accident. Mayoke immediately informed Hana of the direction the car was going. She then ran to heal the worker's wounds. Hana caught up with the car. The driver tried to steer the car sideways to get rid of her, but couldn't. Hana quickly sneaked into the car. She then kicked the driver hard. She quickly grabbed the steering wheel to avoid the truck that was coming towards her. But when she checked the brakes, she found that they were broken. Hana immediately informed the other members of the incident. Motak, who was next to her, advised her to run towards the bridge under construction. Right after, Motak then ran forward to stop the bus, but its speed was too fast. He couldn't stop it. Suddenly, the driver woke up from behind and grabbed Hana's neck. She seemed helpless in this situation. At that moment, the bus entered the summoned territory. Hana's power increased greatly. She single-handedly defeated the driver easily. She continued to hold the steering wheel to control the car that was going at high speed. Feeling that he couldn't stop the car, Motak had to accelerate towards the bridge. He stopped the car at the boundary of the territory with the intention of using his body to stop the bus. Motak used all his strength to slow down the speed of the bus. Just like that, it slowly stopped at the edge of the bridge. When everything was settled, Hana went to check on the students. Surprisingly, the driver woke up once again. He was holding a little girl hostage, with broken glasses pressed against her neck. No one around dared to make a move. At that moment, someone controlled the driver's arm, and that person was none other than So-mun. Feeling that he could not run anymore, the driver hugged the little girl and jumped into the river. Everyone was panicking at that scene, but So-mun didn't. He used his strength to lift the driver into the air. Then, the little girl slowly flew into his arms safely. So-mun continued to let the driver fly higher, then let him fall freely to the ground. When he woke up, So-mun punched him hard, sending him flying far away. Then, So-mun summoned the demon inside the driver. That day, Hana and So-mun were walking on the street when they saw a boy torturing an animal. So-mun immediately ran to stop the boy, but it turned out to be just a stuffed animal. So-mun was angry when this boy Junhoi spoke very rudely. He asked about the wound on his forehead, but Junhoi did not say anything and ran away. When he returned home, Junhoi saw his father beating his mother. The father wanted his wife to give him money to continue gambling. When he saw Junhoi, the father immediately caught the boy and asked where his wife hid the money. Junhoi really did not know anything. This made the father very angry. He was about to hit Junhoi when So-mun appeared in time to stop him. So-mun read the father's memories and realized that he was an extremely bad husband and father. He only knew how to beat his wife and children. So-mun warned the father not to let him see this scene again. Then, he let him go. But after taking a few steps, Hana continued to teach him another lesson. She saw his memories. In addition to domestic violence, there was also gambling. Hana immediately called the police to arrest this evil husband. Soon after, So-mun and Hana brought Junhoi and his mother to the group's noodle shop. Motak, who works at the police station, had the abusive husband imprisoned for a long time. Mayoke also advised the mother and Junhoi to feel free to come here to eat noodles or talk. Everyone felt sorry for the situation of the two. On the other side, Jusuk is a firefighter. Today, he brought his wife to check the fetus. Both husband and wife are very excited to meet their first child. Jusuk even burst into tears when his dream of becoming a father is about to come true. While the couple was chatting happily, a news appeared on TV that made both of their faces change. The swindler surnamed Park was being detained by the police with a sum of up to hundreds of billions of won. It is worth mentioning that Jusuk and his wife were also his victims. The accomplice Chung Jae had passed away, so no one knew where the money was. The wife Minji was devastated after hearing this. In the suburbs of China, a man was watching the news about the Daegu scam. This couple were demons disguised as humans. They were planning to return to Korea to get the money back. Outside, the demon hunting group in China was sneaking into the house. A girl discovered many corpses in a room. She approached a living boy and offered to help, but he was very scared. Seeing a dying girl, Miss So immediately went to treat her wound. At that moment, the other boy poked his head out with a provocative look. Only then did Miss So realize that the boy was also a demon. The two immediately rushed into a fierce fight. The young man was punched by Miss So and fell to the ground. Feeling that he could not fight back, he took the girl next to him as a hostage. Immediately after, he stabbed the girl fatally and threw her towards Miss So. But when Miss So was not paying attention, he ran over and killed Miss So. After that, he sucked the soul from Miss So's body. This seemed to make him stronger. At the same time, another demon hunter was fighting the devil Pilguam, but the strength of the two was too different. Pilguam was not an ordinary demon. He easily defeated the demon hunter. Immediately after, Pilguam sucked the soul from the demon hunter. His eyes turned red. On the other side, the demon Jelly was waiting to assassinate one of Miss So's teammates. Jelly jumped down and attacked from behind. Miss So's teammates immediately picked up their weapons to fight back. But in the end, Jelly could not be defeated. She pinned Miss So's teammate to the floor and killed him. Like the others before, Jelly also absorbed the soul of Miss So's teammate. The leader of the demon hunting group, Dujun, also appeared at this time. Seeing Pilguam, Dujun immediately used his strength to push him to the ground. Then, objects continuously flew at Pilguang. Dujun used all his strength, beating Pilguang until he had no strength to stand up. It seemed like everything was over, but it was not. Pilguang controlled the gun to point straight at Dujun, but with just one look, Dujun adjusted the gun's direction towards Pilguang. With the gun in his hand, Dujun slowly approached Pilguang, but when he pulled the trigger, Dujun realized it was just a trap. Pilguang then covered Dujun with a shirt and killed him with many sword strikes. Immediately after that, he sucked Dujun's soul. Pilguang's body became extremely deformed and terrifying. His power had now increased many times. The next day, the three demons were on their way back to Korea. With their increased power, they were all confident that they would create a world of their own. On this side, the group of demon hunters in Korea had heard about the incident last night in China. Everyone was worried because the demons had become much stronger. Thanks to the soul snatching of the demon hunter, they were now no different from the demon hunters here. At the same time, the thugs came to Junhui and his mother. They came here to collect the debt that her husband had borrowed. That night, Hana sensed that Junhui and his mother were in danger. All the members of the group immediately went there. Knowing that the wife could not pay her husband's debt, the thugs took the mother and Junhui to their base. The purpose was to perform surgery to get their organs to sell. Fortunately, the demon hunters arrived in time. Everyone immediately took action to deal with them one by one. If they could hunt demons, these ordinary people were nothing to them. A moment later, everything was handled neatly. Seeing the mother in a coma, Mayok immediately used her ability to help her wake up. Junhui and his mother then hugged each other in tears. Everyone around also felt happy for them. This silly guy's name was Jepal. His daily job was to clean up the manure for his family's dairy cows. He finished his work early because he had to go on a blind date today. This classy girl went to the agreed location with Jepal, but when she saw his foolish appearance, she immediately turned around and left. At that moment, Jepal called the girl's name again, making it impossible for her to leave. The whole conversation, Jepal only talked about cow dung and his family's cows. Hearing this, the girl felt very uncomfortable, so she asked permission to leave first. Forgetting the phone on the table, Jepal immediately took the phone and ran after the girl to return it to her. While crossing the street, a truck was heading straight towards the girl. Jepal immediately ran over and kicked the girl away. As for him, the truck hit him straight on. The collision was so strong that Jepal immediately fell into a coma. Motak witnessed the accident and quickly took Jepal to the hospital. Standing outside the emergency room, Jepal's father cried for his beloved son. He blamed himself for not being able to protect Jepal. Beside him, Motak felt that this foolish boy was a very kind and filial person to his parents. This was the person Motak was looking for, the one who would join the demon hunter group. In his coma, Jepal was awakened by the cow's tongue. He was really panicked because he couldn't know where he was. At that moment, Weijin slowly appeared and walked towards Jepang. Weijin revealed that this was heaven and Jepang died in an accident while saving people. Jepang still couldn't believe those words. He still couldn't find a lover, and there was also a father waiting for him to return. Weijin said that she could wake Jepang up from his coma if he agreed to become a demon hunter. Jepang thought that he was good at nothing but cleaning cow dung. He was afraid that he would become a burden to everyone. Weijin heard that and said that it was not important because Jepang was a good person and he had just sacrificed himself to save a girl. The demon hunting group needed people like him, and he could slowly train himself to be strong. On the other side, the trial of the swindler Park Sung was taking place. Minji was also present to watch the trial. Everyone was very angry when he was only sentenced to 3 years of probation. The victims he had scammed could not accept such an unreasonable sentence. While Park Sung was taking the back road to avoid the victims, he suddenly encountered 3 demons. Park Sung was extremely panicked when he fell into this situation. Hee-eun immediately took action to eliminate the 2 bodyguards next to Park Sung. They were here to get back all the money that Park Sung had scammed, despite him saying that he had no idea where the money was. But looking into Park Sung's eyes, everyone felt that those were lies. Pilguang tortured Park Sung's body, forcing him to reveal where the money was hidden. At that moment, Minji was also present outside the elevator. Before she could react, they dragged her inside. A moment later, Jusuk received news that his wife was in the hospital in critical condition. He panicked and immediately ran there. The police thought that Park Sung was the biggest suspect. It was very possible that he had killed Minji and left this world himself. But it had all been caused by the 3 demons. Not long after, Minji died from excessive blood loss. Jusuk really didn't want to believe it was true. He painfully screamed his wife's name outside the window. Jusuk was devastated at losing both his wife and unborn child. At Minji's funeral, the demon hunters were also present. They came to share Jusuk's sadness. There, Jusuk learned that Park Sung was still alive. He wondered why Park Sung had wanted to leave this world but had been able to live while his wife could not. On the other side, the 3 demons have taken the amount of up to $90 million. They were thinking about what to do with all this money. Pilguang saw the territories outside the city. He realized that there were demon hunting groups there, just like in China. On this side, after agreeing to join the demon hunting group, Jepang woke up. He was surprised to feel full of life. Beside him, Motak was still waiting for him to return. After that, Motak brought Jepang back to introduce him to the group. Everyone was very happy to welcome a new member. Jepang was given a uniform and they took pictures together as a souvenir. The demon hunting group went to the hospital where Park Sung was being treated. They wanted to know what had happened inside the elevator that day. Hana put her hand on Park Sung's face to read his memory. There, she learned that it had been the demons in China who caused everything. After Minji had been dragged into the elevator, Pilguang had controlled Park Sung to kill her. Despite Minji's constant pleas because she was pregnant, she couldn't escape the demons. That day, Pilguang came to the sister's noodle shop alone. He walked inside, much to someone's surprise. Pilguang came here to provoke the demon hunters. His His power now could be said to be on par with So-mun. He used his internal energy to make the building shake like an earthquake. On the opposite side, So-mun did the same to prevent the building from collapsing. Inside the shop, two opposing territories were summoned. Maoke and Hana also realized that Pilgwang was the demon they were looking for. Pilgwang and So-mun continued to use their internal energy to confront each other. The window next to him began to crack and was about to shatter. Until Pilgwang stopped, everything returned to peace. He came just to show off his power. That was the beginning of the upcoming battle between the two sides of good and evil. When Pilgwang left the noodle shop, So-mun's strength seemed to be exhausted. His nose started bleeding. On the other side, Pilgwang was the same. He could not underestimate So-mun either. That day, while the police were transferring Park Sung to the detention center, a fire truck suddenly blocked the road. That person was none other than Ju-suk. He used a water hose to knock down each police officer. Ju-suk came here to make Park Sung pay for Minji's death. He used an axe to try to kill Park Sung. Fortunately, Motak arrived in time to stop Ju-suk. Ju-suk burst into tears when he could not kill Park Sung himself. Ju-suk was then arrested and taken to the detention center. He was charged with obstructing a law enforcement officer and attempted murder. So-mun was truly heartbroken about Ju-suk's situation. He blamed Ju-suk for being a good person. Why would he do such things? But losing his wife and children was too much of a shock for Ju-suk. He could no longer keep his mind steady. In Ju-suk prison was approached by two inmates to cause trouble with him. They mocked Ju-suk with cruel words. He couldn't stand it anymore, so he beat one of them unconscious. Several prison guards came to stop him. He was then transferred to solitary confinement. In the last moment of his suffering, Ju-suk immediately thought of death. He wanted to leave this world to see his wife and children. The moment Ju-suk kicked the chair, a demonic spirit suddenly appeared. Then, it slowly entered Ju-suk's body. The shirt he hung around his neck to leave this world also came apart. He was saved by a demon. That morning, Japong suddenly panicked because he detected a foul smell. He felt that there was a demonic smell at his cow farm. Everyone immediately went to the farm, but when they got there was no demon to be seen. Everyone gathered to reprimand Japong. He also sincerely apologized because the smell was very similar to that of a demon. When preparing to leave, Hana felt that there were indeed demons here. There were two groups of demons nearby. One group was in the reed bushes by the National Highway. The other group was in the Dong-in Museum. Immediately after that, everyone split up to hunt them down. Myoke and Chairman Jang Mul would go to the museum, while the rest would go to the reed bushes to search. While Myoke and Jang Mul were entering the museum, they saw Pilgwang. He killed one person with a bullet. Pilgwang threw away his gun, wanting to fight the two of them barehanded. At the same time, Hyun appeared out of nowhere to attack Myoke and Jang Mul. The two of them tried to rush at Pilgwang, but the difference in strength was too great. With just a flick of his hand, he sent the two of them flying far away. On the other side, So-mun could not contact Myoke and Jang Mul. Feeling something was wrong, he and Motak went to the museum. Back to Myoke and Jang Mul, the two were now receiving blows from the demon Hyun. Just like that, the two sides rushed into battle, while Pilgwang was interestedly standing on the side watching this battle. While Myoke was about to kill Hyun with the spear, Pilgwang immediately used his internal energy to stop her. He controlled the spear in Myoke's hand to point at Jang Mul. At the crucial moment, the knife suddenly shot straight at Pilgwang. Immediately after, the territory was summoned, and it was none other than So-mun. He and Pilgwang then slowly moved towards each other and began to rush into battle. Pilgwang was pushed back while So-mun remained unharmed. The two used all their strength to try to defeat their opponent. Neither of them wanted to lose. Pilgwang felt extremely excited to face someone worthy, and So-mun also had the same opinion. They continued to rush at each other to exchange moves, fighting for a long time but could not determine the winner. While being off guard, So-mun was sent flying into the wall by Pilgwang. With the power of the demon surrounding him, So-mun could no longer move. So-mun thought about Minji's death, then thought about her poor husband Ju-suk. The resentment inside So-mun grew even more. He used all his strength to summon the territory, then he freed himself. So-mun lifted Pilgwang up and tied him up in the air. In the moment to end this fight, Jang Mul suddenly appeared. Pilgwang immediately realized that and picked up the gun and pointed it at Jang Mul. Seeing this, So-mun quickly took the bullet for Jang Mul. When he turned around, Pilgwang had already escaped. On this side, with the help of Motak, Myoke easily defeated the demon Hyun. Myoke then summons the demon inside him. On the other side, Hana and Japong are hunting the demon Jelly in the reeds. She was faster than what the two of them had imagined. Japong couldn't even use his nose to navigate. Jelly appeared and continuously attacked. To determine Jelly's location, Hana needed to use her hearing, and it was really effective. After a while of fighting, Hana was finally the winner. Jelly was blinded in one eye by her own hand. She immediately ran away to save her life. Returning to the base, Jang Mul blamed So-mun for taking the bullet with his own body because So-mun was the most important person in this demon hunting group. He could die, but So-mun couldn't. Everyone in this group depended on So-mun. They wouldn't have been able to do anything without him. On the other hand, after returning, Jelly was extremely angry when she saw that her eye had been blinded. She wanted Pilgwang to do something to get revenge, but he thought that then was not the right time. So-mun was actually much stronger than him, but the stronger Pilgwang was, the more he liked to take that soul. Inside the prison, after Ju-suk had been possessed by the demon spirit, he often had strange dreams. This demon always tried to seduce and manipulate Ju-suk's mind, the purpose being to turn him into an evil person. Ju-suk suddenly woke up in fear. He was now standing between the boundary of good and evil after what the demon had said. The next morning, Japong decided to leave the demon hunting group. After what he had experienced, he felt that he was really useless. He was afraid that staying would be a burden to everyone. That night, the group went to Japong's house to convince him to return. Japong thought that he could no longer smell the scent of demons. He also couldn't understand the reason. That power had suddenly appeared, and and then disappeared. Japong didn't want to come back. He didn't want to affect everyone because of him. After that, he politely sent the group away. The next day, Japong was sitting in the field when he suddenly remembered the demon hunting group. He told himself not to think about it anymore, but it kept popping up in his mind. At that moment, his father called him back to bring some plums and rice wine to give to the village chief. At this time in the village chief's house, the son wanted his father to sell the hill, but the village chief refused to sell it. The son coldly took out a knife from his pocket and rushed to slash his father. At that dangerous moment, Japong suddenly appeared. The son stabbed his father in the leg. It turned out that the son was possessed by a demon's soul. After that, he went crazy and rushed to slash Japong, but failed. Seeing his father escape, he chased after him to kill him. Japong also tried to chase after him to stop him. After that, he was beaten up. Japong's father saw this and immediately ran to beat the village chief's son, but he was not injured at all, and Japong's father was punched unconscious by him. The son used a shovel to repeatedly hit Japong when he tried to use his body to protect his father. On the other side, Hana and Somun received the news and were on their way there. The moment Japong's face was pressed straight into the pile of dung, his nose smelled the scent of a demon. Japong's strength suddenly increased many times. He gave the son a strong punch. Hana and Somun came just to watch Japong torture the son. Japong defeated him convincingly. Immediately after that, Somun wanted Japong to summon the demon inside the son. This was also the first time he had done that. After the incident that day, Japong wanted to return to the demon hunting group. He wanted to save the world. This was the time when he was more confident than ever. Before the court date, Jusuk met his defense lawyer. The lawyer advised Jusuk to avoid unfavorable questions. If it was difficult to answer, just say that he didn't remember. Jusuk's mind was divided into two streams of thought. One side was listening to what the lawyer told him. The other side was the words that the demon whispered to him. The next day, Jusuk's trial took place. Everyone in the demon hunting group was present. Motak stood up as a witness for Jusuk about the incident of blocking the police car, but Motak thought that Jusuk's actions at that time did not seem like he wanted to kill anyone. Surprisingly, the two demons Pilgwang and Geli were also present below. No one here realized this. Above, Jusuk said that he was truly remorseful, but he thought that if he could go back, he would still want to kill Park Seo. This shocked everyone in the courtroom. It seemed that Jusuk's soul had gradually absorbed the blood of the devil. Standing next to him, the lawyer immediately defended Jusuk's words. Maybe he had not yet recovered from the shock of losing his wife, so he asked for a postponement until the next court session. Below, Somun also did not understand what Jusuk was saying. Pilgwang smiled happily. Outside, Somun ran after Jusuk to blame him for those words. Jusuk said that he could not forgive Park Seo. That was the truth that he wanted Park Seo to pay for. That night, Pilgwang and Geli broke into Jusuk's house. Pilgwang felt that Jusuk would be the savior of his life. Pilgwang intended to lure Jusuk to his side. Looking at Jusuk's eyes in the courtroom, Pilgwang thought that he was suppressing the power of the devil. The next day, Pilgwang went to the prison to meet Jusuk. He used provocative words towards Minji to make Jusuk angry. The prison guard complained about the noise, so Pilgwang immediately killed the prison guard. After that, he broke the camera that was filming. Pilgwang said that he came here to help Jusuk know the truth about Minji's death, but what the truth was, he couldn't say right now. On the other side, Hana met her friend Do-sik again. The moment Do-sik held her hand, she was able to read his memories. It turned out that many years ago, Hana was in a coma on the hospital bed. It was Do-sik who was always by her side day and night to take care of her. Then one day she suddenly joined the demon hunting group and left without saying a word. Here, Hana realized how much Do-sik loved her. That day, while walking on the road, Japong smelled the scent of a demon. He realized that this was the scent of the demon Jelly. The group immediately followed the trail. On the other side, Jelly met a criminal gang. She came here to get her money back, but the boss did not agree. The boss immediately sent someone to deal with Gelly, but how could they? It only took a few seconds for her to take down all of them. At the same time, the demon hunting group also arrived. Gelly was scared and ran away when she saw that, so Moon stayed to treat the boss's wound, while Japong continued to chase after them. Jelly broke the air ducts to block the way of the people behind. Japong inhaled it and his nose had a problem. Just like that, Jelly quickly escaped safely. That night, Motak and So-mun went to the laundry. Motak thought that this was the place where the money laundering gang in the freezer room often went. It was true. This was the place they used to launder money. By some miracle, the data on the computer was suddenly deleted. The two discovered that there was another person inside. They quickly chased after that person, but then let him escape successfully. On the other side, Pilgwang and Gelly went to the prison. They entered the prison with dignity, gently defeating each prison guard. When facing Pilgwang, Jusuk wanted to know the truth that he knew, but Pilgwang refused to tell him, which made Jusuk very angry. However, his strength was not enough to fight a demon like Pilgwang. It was Gelly's turn to torture Jusuk mentally and physically. They beat him until his mouth bled. Pilgwang wanted him to side with him before revealing the truth. When Jusuk passed out, Pilgwang and Gelly left. The next morning, Jusuk was transferred to the prison infirmary. The dream about the demon appeared once more. It continued to use Minji to manipulate his mind. When Jusuk woke up, he suddenly felt full of life. His body was really different from usual. At that moment, two other prisoners came to cause trouble. With the increased strength after accepting the soul of the demon, Jusuk easily defeated the two prisoners. Jusuk was like a demon torturing their bodies. Just like that, he walked straight out of the prison alone. Wherever he went, the body of the prison guard fell down. No one could stop Jusuk at this time. He flew through the prison gate easily. On the other side, So-mun was really shocked to see this scene. He also realized that Jusuk was now possessed by the soul of the demon. So-mun wanted to expel the demon, but Jusuk immediately used her strength to stop him. Here, Jusuk advised So-mun not to interfere in his business, and he would do anything to avenge Minji. So So-mun immediately tried to stop Ju-suk, but this was impossible. So-mun also did not expect Ju-suk to be so strong. Ju-suk immediately locked So-mun against the wall with an iron fence. So-mun tried to summon his territory to escape. The police appeared and shot at So-mun, but Ju-suk took the bullet for him. Next, So-mun used his power to stop the remaining police group. When he returned, Ju-suk had disappeared. At this time, Ju-suk had stolen a truck on the side of the road to escape. Behind, the two demons witnessed everything. Ju-suk was following the road that Pilgwang had outlined, and this was just the beginning of his upcoming plan. Motok received news that Ju-suk had escaped from prison, so he immediately went to the hospital where Park Sung was being treated to check. Inside, Park Sung was still there, and there was nothing unusual or any sign of forced entry. That night, the police came to Ju-suk's mother to inform her that Ju-suk had run away. The mother was really shocked when she heard the news. The police told the mother to report to them immediately if she saw Ju-suk again, but the mother was sure that Ju-suk would not come back. But as soon as the police left, the mother called out Ju-suk's name. The mother and son were emotional when faced with this situation. The mother did not forget to blame Ju-suk for wanting to do such things. Ju-suk came here to see his mother for a while, because he still had a lot of work to do. While his mother was preparing food for Ju-suk, he quietly left. Outside, the police were still watching. When they saw Ju-suk's figure, they immediately surrounded him. Ju-suk used his strength, made everyone could not control themselves. He lifted everyone into the air and pointed the gun straight at them. Inside the house, the mother witnessed everything, but Ju-suk didn't want to kill any of them because he still had some humanity left in him. He eliminated those who got in his way and left. Soon after, the mother followed Ju-suk. He intended to say goodbye to his mother again, but he saw Hana and someone coming, so he quickly left. The mother then fainted because she felt so sorry for her son. Hana used her psychic powers to locate Ju-suk. What was special was that he could see the territory. It was really different from other demons. Through the territory, Hana advised Ju-suk to stop, but he definitely couldn't do it if he hadn't completed his revenge mission. Everyone in the group had a meeting to talk about Ju-suk's case. So-mun still couldn't understand why the demon had possessed Ji-suk. Demons only possessed people who were as evil as them. Wai-jen thought that it was the anger inside Ju-suk. Everyone was afraid that he would have extremely strong superpowers now. What would happen if he killed another person? Ju-suk's mother was in the hospital now. Hana and So-mun were still by her side to take care of her. On the other side, in the house opposite, was Ju-suk's silhouette. He came there only because he was worried about his mother's health, but didn't want to show himself. Soon after, Jelly also appeared with provocative words. She mentioned Ju-suk's wife and children, which made him extremely angry. Ju-suk warned her never to insult his family. After that, he left. At that moment, Pilgwang also appeared. They were afraid that Ju-suk would be shaken by his mother, so they wanted to do something to prevent this from happening. Not long after, two demons appeared at the hospital. While Ju-suk's mother was undergoing surgery, Pilgwang immediately took out all the doctors there. Pilgwang pulled out Ju-suk's mother's breathing tube. Suddenly, the territory was summoned. The two demons realized that So-mun's demon hunting group was coming. They immediately left. Outside, they met So-mun. Gelly immediately pressed the fire alarm, causing more chaos. Taking advantage of that opportunity, the two demons successfully escaped. Inside, when they saw that Ju-suk's mother had stopped breathing, Mayoke used her ability to save her. Mayoke's nosebleed slowly flowed out. Finally, Ju-suk's mother's heartbeat returned to normal. These past few days, Motok has been investigating the death of Chung Jae, Park Sung's accomplice in the fraud. Here, Motok discovered that the body at the scene of the car fire was fake. He was still alive and hiding somewhere. That Chung Jae wanted to escape with the laundered money. Everyone wanted to find him soon before the demon Pilgwang acted. That night, Jipong was assigned to guard the hospital where Park Sung was being treated. While talking to Jang Mul, Jipong detected an unusual smell. It was indeed the smell of a demon, so he ran in to check. Inside, Gelly had killed all the security guards and doctors. She immediately captured Park Sung. On the other side, Ju-suk went to Minji's cemetery. Her death had never been easy for him to accept. At that moment, the territory was summoned by Pilgwang. He had the swindler Park Sung in his hands and was using him to provoke Ju-suk. At this time, the demon hunters were on their way to the hospital. On the other side of the building, Pilgwang and Gelly were waiting to see the exciting developments they would create. Just a moment later, Ju-suk was by Park Sung's side. Park Sung was truly terrified when he saw Ju-suk's figure. Ju-suk immediately strangled Park Sung. The images of the trial, images of Minji's death kept appearing in Ju-suk's mind. Anger seemed to reach its peak in Ju-suk. He let Park Sung float in the air. At that moment, So-mun arrived in time. So-mun explained to Ju-suk that Park Sung was not the one who killed Minji. On the other side, Hana said that it was Pilgwang who manipulated everything. He controlled Park Sung to kill his wife, but Ju-suk did not care about those words. He coldly broke the neck of the swindler Park Sung. After that, Ju-suk immediately attacked Hana and So-mun. Hana was seriously injured when a knife was stabbed straight into her. Next, Ju-suk sucked out Park Sung's soul. His eyes turned red. The veins in his body began to turn black. So-mun felt that and tried to find a way to stop Ju-suk. So-mun forgot about their feelings to fight Ju-suk. He used all his superpowers to push Ju-suk from above to the ground. So-mun pinned Ju-suk to the ground and punched him repeatedly in the face. Ju-suk also began to fight back as the demon inside him arose. How So-mun hit Ju-suk? Ju-suk hit back by the same manner. Above, Pilgwang and Jelly eagerly watched the two of them fight. Jelly was planning to jump down and suck Hana's soul. Pilgwang would suck So-mun's soul. Below, the two were still fighting fiercely, and So-mun now had the upper hand. So-mun was a bit hesitant when facing Ju-suk, but then he decided to summon the demon inside Ju-suk. Suddenly, Pilgwang was right next to him. He said provocative words to So-mun. At the same time, he also admitted that Ju-suk was like this because of him. The two then used their own superpowers to confront each other. Pilgwang pulled Ju-suk's body towards him. Then he pushed So-mun far away. When So-mun turned back, no one was there. Pilgwang Pilgwang and Jusuk had disappeared. Above, Gelly was torturing Hana's body. Hana was now severely injured and could not fight back. Gelly pressed Hana down and said the last words before killing her. At the moment, Hana was about to die. Somun arrives at the right time. He immediately pushed Gelly away. At the same time, Somun also climbed up. Gelly immediately ran away in panic, wondering where Pilgwang was now. After Pilgwang brought Jusuk back, Jusuk woke up, but Jusuk now had the soul of a demon. The demon inside Jusuk sat and talked to Pilgwang. It revealed that Jusuk's will was too strong, and it could not fully control Jusuk. It wanted Pilgwang to do something to make Jusuk's desire for revenge stronger. It had to provoke the rage in Jusuk. On the other side, everyone had brought Hana back safely. She just needed to rest to recover. Here, Somun revealed to Motak that Pilgwang was the one who turned Jusuk into this. Jusuk's revenge was just beginning. It seemed that Jusuk was not only hunting down Park Sung, but also the whole group of scammers. Motak also advised Somun to forget about his relationship with Jusuk, because he was very different now. Jusuk was a demon, so someone should not hesitate if he had the chance to kill Jusuk. On this side, Jusuk's true self had just awakened. He panicked when surrounded by provocative words. Pilgwang continued to manipulate his mind. He wanted the hatred in Jusuk to grow stronger. He wanted to turn Jusuk into a cruel demon. He used Minji's death to provoke him. Jusuk immediately grabbed Pilgwang's collar to ask about Minji's death. He wanted to know everything. Pilgwang continuously denied that he had anything to do with Minji's death. He blamed another con man, Chung Jae. Chung Jae was now on the run with hundreds of millions of won in con money. The subordinate informed him about Park Sung's death. The person who killed Park Sung was Jusuk, a dangerous man who had just escaped from prison. Chung Jae was now afraid that Jusuk would come looking for him. Jelly, after what happened, began to change her mind. She wanted to leave Pilgwang's side. When he left her alone last night, he only wanted to take care of himself and ignored his teammates. Immediately after, Jelly disguised herself as a lawyer to meet Hee Eun in prison. She heartlessly killed her teammates. Outside, Gelly met Pilgwang. Here, she did not hesitate to end her relationship with him. After what Pilgwang had done to her, Gelly wanted to have nothing to do with each other from now on. That day, Jaepong was sent to investigate the situation in a fraud gang. Here, they specialized in selling apartments to the elderly. Jaepong pretended to be a customer who came to buy a house. Hearing what the scammer said, he was almost mentally manipulated by them. Outside, Motak heard everything and was very angry. He immediately told Jaepong to quickly retreat and return to the base after getting the information. The group planned to destroy the scammer gang. Everyone was afraid that Jusuk would take revenge on everyone involved in the scammer gang, especially the mastermind Chung Jae. Motak wanted everyone to quickly find Chung Jae before Jusuk did. There was a guy in the video that Jaepong recorded who was Chung Jae's subordinate. Immediately after, everyone went to the scammer gang. Hana threw a guy to open the door, but inside, there were not scammers, but only thugs. Everyone continued to search, while Hana stayed to deal with these people. Inside the badminton court, they were trying their best to mentally manipulate everyone. At that moment, the Hunter's demon group arrived in time. Everyone quickly split up to deal with each one. They took them down easily without much effort. Seeing that one was trying to escape, Mayoke chased after him. Very quickly, Mayoke caught the guy but discovered an acquaintance. Mayoke stood there stunned to let the guy escape. Inside, everyone had caught all of them. Hana checked but none of them had any memories of Chung Jae. At that moment, Hana's friend Dosik also appeared. Immediately after that, everyone invited him to eat and drink. When Dosik was almost drunk, everyone asked him why he liked Hana. Here, Dosik did not hesitate to say everything he liked about her. While everyone was having fun, Jaepong was upset. He was jealous when someone suddenly came to take away Hana. Jaepong immediately left the table, leaving everyone surprised and not understanding what was happening. That day, Mayoke went to find the young man who ran away the day before. She blamed him for joining a gang of scammers who harmed others. But then, she invited him out for a hearty meal. Many years ago, this young man had helped Mayoke while she was on a mission. Looking at the young man at that time, Mayoke remembered her deceased son. She always hoped that the young man would become a good person, but now he had become like this. On the other side, Jusuk sat alone in the room and remembered Pilgwang's words. Pilgwang told him that Chung Jae was the one who caused everything. Jusuk remembered the incident 2 years ago. The people who were scammed, including his family, went to Beidou Company to protest. But Park Sung and Chung Jae didn't care about that. They were still at large and no one could do anything about it. At that time, Minji also blocked Chung Jae's car. Minji knelt down and begged him to return the money, but he humiliated her. Chung Jae even spat in Minji's face. He even stuffed some coins into her mouth. At that time, he treated her like an animal. Jusuk immediately went to stop him, but Chung Jae's men beat him up. Jusuk and Minji could only hold their resentment inside and could do nothing. Remembering those images, Jusuk's hatred grew even stronger, and he began his journey to find Chung Jae to take revenge. That night after eating, Mayoke took the young man home. She stood from afar, watching the young man intently, when Motak appeared out of nowhere. On the way home, the two accidentally bumped into a strange man. Motak immediately recognized that he had a rose tattoo on his neck, the symbol of a member of a fraud gang. Soon after, the man went to the young man's house. He came here to kill the young man, because the young man was being watched by the police. He used a rope to tighten the young man's neck. At that moment, Mayoke and Motak arrived in time. Mayoke punched the man so hard that he fainted. Motak then discovered that someone was calling from inside his pocket. He immediately recorded the conversation. Returning to the base, he played it for everyone to listen to. Inside was the voice of a comrade. He mentioned the name of Chairman Lee. Everyone immediately recognized it as Lee Chung Jae. It seemed that he was at a golf club. Immediately after that, everyone searched for golf clubs in the city. At that moment, Hana sensed that Jusuk was nearby. At this time, Jusuk went to find a doctor in the hospital. This doctor was the one who made Chung Jae's death certificate. So Moon and everyone went to the place, but Jusuk had already left. He destroyed the doctor's 2 eyes for not examining Chungjae's body properly. What everyone predicted was true. Therefore, someone wanted to find Chungjae sooner before Jusuk harmed him. That night, Do-sik made an appointment to meet Hana at a familiar place. He eagerly held the flower in his hand to wait for her. The two then went for a walk together to talk together to recall the beautiful memories between the two. This was also the place where the two first met. Here, Do-sik expressed all his feelings, but Hana rejected it. She wanted the two to stop, and she did not explain the reason. As soon as Hana turned to leave, the flower in Do-sik's hand fell. He was now in Jelly's hands. Immediately after that, Jelly kicked Do-sik to the other side of the stairs and continued to attack Hana. The two immediately rushed at each other to exchange moves. After a while of tense struggle, it seemed that Hana was the weaker one. She seemed unable to resist Jelly. One of her eyes was injured, and she couldn't control the situation. Jelly slowly approached Hana to make the decisive move. Unexpectedly, Do-sik rushed out to stop Jelly. Immediately, Do-sik was stabbed fatally in the back by Jelly, then slowly collapsed. Hana was truly shocked by Do-sik's feelings. Jelly was about to kill Do-sik when Hana immediately pushed her away. Hana's anger seemed to have reached its peak. She promised herself that she would defeat Jelly right now. She rushed to beat Jelly to avenge Do-sik. Jelly felt she couldn't resist, so she immediately stabbed Do-sik fatally. This made Hana extremely angry. While she wanted to kill Jelly, suddenly a source of power stopped Hana. That person was none other than Pilguang. He used his supernatural power to strangle Hana's neck, causing her great pain. He didn't come here to rescue Jelly, but he wanted to take this opportunity to take over everyone's souls. He strangled Jelly to let Jelly know what would happen if she left him. With just a flick of his hand, he sent Hana and Jelly flying away. Immediately after that, he went to steal Do-sik's soul. Seeing this, Hana used all her remaining strength. She pushed Pilguang away to help Do-sik escape death. When Pilguang returned, everyone had escaped. At the same time, the demon hunters also discovered Hana and Do-sik injured on the road. Do-sik was then taken back to the base for treatment. Thanks to Maokai's help, he was lucky to stay alive. Immediately after, Do-sik also woke up, but he couldn't remember everything clearly. He only vaguely remembered that Hana was in danger. Hana immediately said that it was just a minor accident. Do-sik had passed out while trying to save her. Hana didn't want Do-sik to panic when thinking about those images, so she erased his memory. From now on, the two would become strangers. The beautiful memories of the two of them together are no longer there. From the moments when they were happy together, the image of the first day Hana met Do-sik has now disappeared forever. On the other side, Jelly returned home with injuries all over her body. She was still angry at Pilguang's actions. She promised herself that she would take revenge on him at all costs. At the same time, Jelly could not understand why Hana was so strong at that time. That morning, Hana accidentally met Do-sik again. In his mind, there was no longer any image of her. The two people who used to be very close, but now passed each other as if they had never known each other. On this side, Chungjae was recruiting tall and strong men to protect him. He was afraid that one day Jusuk would come here. At the same time, his subordinates also brought the young man Joan back to ask him questions. Chungjae seemed happy to see Joan again, but in his heart he had many calculations. He implied that John had been conspiring with Motok and Mayok to betray him, but John repeatedly denied knowing them. John insisted that he was still loyal to Chungjae, but to test his loyalty, Chungjae gave John an important task. Mayoke went to John's apartment. Seeing everything in a mess, she immediately cleaned it up. At the same time, Joan also returned. Seeing Mayok enter his house without permission made him really uncomfortable. Joan kept telling Mayok to go home, but she refused to leave. Looking at the incense on the table, Mayoke suddenly remembered that today was John's grandmother's death anniversary. Immediately after, Mayok prepared a meal to worship her. Seeing Mayok working hard, John made her a glass of orange juice, but after drinking it, she felt dizzy. It turned out that John had put sleeping pills in the glass of orange juice. This was also the task that Chungjae had given him. John immediately called him to tell him that everything was okay. Mayoke was taken to an abandoned house. When her hands and feet were tied tightly, Chungjae's subordinates were guarding her. Seeing Mayok wake up, the subordinate wanted her to call Motok to come there. He was planning to kill the two people, but didn't know that they would have to pay the price soon. Not long after, Motok was there. He didn't say a word and immediately attacked them. Motok dealt with each of them without much effort. The subordinate felt that he couldn't fight Motok, so he put a knife to Mayok's neck and threatened him. Mayok used her strength to untie herself, while the subordinate was easily defeated by her. On the other side, John was absent-mindedly walking home. He told himself that what had happened to Mayoka wasn't his fault. It was just that she had come there herself. When he entered the house, Jusuk had already been there. He knew that John had been the one who transported money for Chungjae. Jusuk came there just to ask about Chungjae's whereabouts. At the same time, Mayoke and Motok were capturing Chungjae's subordinate. The two were on their way to Chungjae's house, following the instructions of this subordinate. Chungjae was happily playing golf, but he had no idea that the thing he had been afraid of was about to come. While he was about to torture a female employee there, a ball suddenly flew at him. Then the sprinklers were turned on and sprayed everywhere. The one who did those things was none other than Jusuk. Chungjae was extremely panicked when he saw his figure. He immediately ran away, but could not escape Jusuk's hand. He punched Chungjae repeatedly in the face, causing him pain. At that moment, Motok also appeared with a gun in his hand, but with just a flick of Jusuk's hand, Motok rolled away. The two then rushed into a fight, but their strength was too different. Motok could not stop Jusuk. At this time, Mayoke was driving Chungjae to escape while Jusuk was chasing behind. Seeing that, Motok immediately grabbed Jusuk's body, but then Motok was punched repeatedly in the face by Jusuk. When Jusuk left, his hands were locked to Motok's hands by the handcuffs. Jusuk asked Motok to take it off, but he certainly couldn't. Jusuk was very angry. He squeezed Motok's neck so hard that he couldn't breathe. Jusuk blamed everyone for blocking his way to protect a bastard. Motok kept advising Jusuk to stop. In that moment of anger, the devil inside Jusuk appeared again. It advised him to massacre everyone who got in his way, but in the end, Jusuk spared Motak's life. He used his strength to break the handcuffs on his hands. On this side, Mayoke and Chungjae were on their way out, but suddenly the car stopped abruptly and the driver was Jusuk. Mayoke immediately ran to stop Jusuk but couldn't do anything. With a face full of resentment, Jusuk approached Chungjae and strangled him. At that moment, Motak shot a bullet into Jusuk's shoulder. Chungjae took the opportunity to run away. Jusuk used his superpower to throw Motak aside. He immediately chased after Chungjae. Suddenly, the other territory was summoned. Jusuk realized that Somun's group had come there, so he jumped into the lake and escaped. Somun arrived and saw that Motak was seriously injured. He also knew that Jusuk was the one who had caused everything. Jusuk returned with a serious wound on his shoulder. The demon inside him reappeared to blame him for not doing what it had said. Jusuk personally took the bullet out of his body. He remembered what Pilguang had said. If he wanted revenge, the demon hunters had to die. On this side, Mayoke was treating Motak's wound. They had now lost track of Chungjae and Jusuk, but at least they had stopped Jusuk from killing. Motak was afraid that Jusuk's rage would grow stronger, which meant the demon inside him would also become stronger. So it was uncertain what other cruel things Jusuk would do besides taking revenge on Chungjae. That day, Jusuk went to Pilguang. There, Pilguang continued to manipulate Jusuk's mind. Pilguang said that in order to take revenge, Jusuk had to kill them all. If not, they would kill him to stop him. It seemed that Pilguang's words had gradually penetrated Jusuk's mind. He had come there to ask Pilguang to show him how to fight against Somun's group. Pilguang wanted Jusuk to be more decisive and brutal in killing. Only one side could survive in this war. In order to achieve his goal of revenge on Chungjae, Jusuk was forced to cooperate with Pilguang because he had no other choice. That day, Jipong smelled Jusuk's scent inside a hotel building, and he immediately announced this to everyone. Immediately, the group gathered at that hotel. The strange thing was that when entering, Jipong's nose could not smell it anymore. They immediately took the elevator to check the floors. The higher they went, the stronger Jipong began to smell the scent of demons, not only Jusuk's scent, but also Pilguang's scent. When they reached the top floor, the scent became stronger. To locate them, someone had to summon the territory, but he could not summon it at the moment. Everyone could not understand why. But in fact, the territory had been summoned, it was just not high enough to reach this level. At that moment, Pilguang also appeared. He was pleased that Somun could not have a territory. This would reduce the group's strength. On the other side, opposite, Jusuk was also there to block the way. The group now had no way to escape. Somun would be in charge of stopping Jusuk, while the rest would confront Pilguang. Just like that, the two sides rushed into battle with each other. But without a territory, it was very difficult for everyone to confront them. When falling into a stalemate, willpower was important. Everyone also caused a lot of trouble for both Pilguang and Jusuk. Finally, the group was able to subdue both demons. At that moment, Geli appeared again. She immediately approached and put her sharp claws on Somun's neck. Geli read his memories. Somun used all his strength to escape from Geli's hands. He pinned her to the floor in a position where she could not escape. Suddenly, Geli placed her hand on Somun's forehead. Immediately after that, she erased his memories. She sent Somun back to the past before his reincarnation. There, he would not have the power he has now. Somun immediately collapsed and fell into a coma. To everyone's shock, Weijen's soul also gradually disappeared as Somun fell into a coma. She sensed that Somun was in danger now. Meanwhile, Geli was extremely excited because she was about to take over Somun's soul. Pilguang was extremely angry. Pilguang's rage had just begun. He threw Mayok and Motak aside. Next, he grabbed Geli's neck as if to vent all his anger. At that moment, Mayoke stopped him in time, but then she fell into Pilguang's evil hands. Mayok did so because she did not want him to absorb Geli's soul to become stronger, but he was too strong for her to deal with. With both hands on both sides, Pilguang helplessly grabbed Mayok and Hana's necks. In the dangerous moment, Hana still told Jipong to quickly take Somun away. Jipong immediately approached Somun with the intention of helping him escape, but unfortunately, Jusuk was there and grabbed Jipong's neck. Motak, who was standing next to him, saw this and immediately ran to stop him, but was also knocked away by Jusuk. Jusuk grabbed Somun's neck and lifted him into the air. In that life and death moment, Jongmul arrived in time with a machine gun in his hand. Without saying much, he continuously shot Jusuk and Pilguang. He slowly approached while bullet casings kept falling. Jongmul was like the savior of the group in this difficult moment. Just like that, Pilguang and Jusuk quickly ran away to find a place to hide. No matter how strong they were, when they saw the gun, the two demons still had to hide. Luckily, the two demons were only injured and not dead. Jongmul also ran out of bullets, so the group ran away. Before the elevator door could close, Motak was pulled back by Jusuk. Everyone tried their best to hold Motak. At that moment, he remembered the technique he had practiced with Somun that morning. Motak told everyone to let go. Then, he rushed over and punched Jusuk hard in the face. He immediately returned to the elevator and the group escaped safely. Sitting in the car, Mayoke tried her best, but still could not help Somun wake up. Everyone did not know how to save Somun. On the other side, Pilguang and Jusuk returned after using up a lot of their strength. The two did not know why Jelly was able to neutralize Somun. Jusuk realized that all Pilguang wanted was Somun's power. As for revenge against Chungjae, he did not care. Jusuk wanted to leave because the two did not have the same goals, but Pilguang continued to manipulate him mentally. That night, Hana entered Somun's memory. He was sitting on the side of the road but couldn't recognize who Hana was. Somun was scared when she kept coming closer. It turned out that he was afraid that everyone would die if they got close to him. Then, Somun left Hana behind. Before falling into a coma, Somun thought that everyone was dead. He blamed himself for not being able to protect the group. That's why Somun is hiding inside himself and won't come out. Whether he wakes up or not depends on his will. In order to find Chungjae's whereabouts, Mayok went to Joan. In his dream, Joan saw himself being bullied carried by a group of thugs and he saw Mayok's image in it. When John woke up, she was sitting next to him. After that, Mayok took him out to eat. There, John seemed to remember everything. He asked her if she was the person who had saved his life when he was young. Mayok admitted it. At the same time, she also considered that he was the one who had helped her. Mayok blamed herself for forgetting Joan for so long. That was also the reason she was here. She advised Joan to go to the police station to testify that Chung Jae was still alive. But he thought it was pointless now, because Chung Jae would leave tonight. She immediately reported this to Motak. She would take John to the police station to testify about it. But when she returned, John had disappeared. That night, while preparing to escape, Chung Jae encountered Gelly. Before he could pull out his gun, Gelly strangled him. At that moment, the group of demon hunters arrived in time. Taking advantage of that opportunity, Chung Jae ran away with the gun in his hand. Motak and Mayok chased after him, while Hana stayed behind to confront Gelly. She seemed stronger than Hana thought. Feeling that she couldn't fight Gelly, she ran away, while Gelly was still chasing after her. Hana hid inside an empty container but was discovered by Gelly. She slowly approached while Hana smiled mysteriously. Outside, Japong immediately locked the door, and this was the trap that Hana used to lure Gelly into. In the dark, Jelly could not do anything. While this was Hana's advantage to use her hearing, the two then rushed into an exchange of blows, but Jelly could not defeat Hana. On the other side, Chung Jae pulled out his gun and aimed it at Mayok. He pulled the trigger, but unexpectedly John was there to block the bullet. John collapsed before Mayok's panic. She immediately used her superpower to heal John's wound when Chung Jae slowly approached. Motak also appeared. Chung Jae immediately shot at Motak, but he dodged. Motak appeared in front of Chung Jae, but the gun now had no bullets. After that, Motak punched Chung Jae repeatedly in the face, making him dizzy. On this side, Gelly tried to poke more holes to find more light, but she still couldn't win against Hana. Hana defeated Gelly very convincingly. Immediately after that, she summoned the demon inside Gelly. Jelly could only scream in pain. Everyone returned with bright smiles on their faces, having just captured Chung Jae and Gelly. What they wanted most at that moment was to see So-mun and Wee-gen return. That night, while the police were taking Gelly back to the station, Pil-gwang suddenly appeared again. In just a moment, he had defeated all the police. He had not come there to rescue Gelly but to take over her soul. His body became as terrifying as usual. Hana once again entered So-mun's memory to meet him. There, he was being psychologically manipulated by demons like Pil-gwang, Ju-suk, and Gelly. Hana tried to stop So-mun from thinking about their words, but he chased her away. The images of the group's death appeared in his mind again. So-mun believed that it was true and blamed himself for not being able to protect everyone. To make So-mun believe that everyone was still safe, Hana showed him images of the group's past. Memories of the group happily together, overcoming all difficulties to destroy the demons, appeared before him. She reminded him that everyone was waiting for his return, but he thought that he was exhausted now. He slowly stepped back, and the image of his family appeared again. He seemed to want to see his parents, who had died in the accident. Hana tried to pull So-mun away as a truck came rushing toward him. Suddenly, So-mun tried to stop the truck, and time suddenly stopped. So-mun then recognized Hana. He suddenly cried when he realized that everyone was waiting for him to return. When Hana exited So-mun's memory, the surrounding territory was suddenly summoned. The image of So-mun coming to Wee-gen to bring her back. His hair had suddenly become curly again. A moment later, So-mun woke up. Everyone was happy about this. On the other side, after knowing that Chung Jae was captured, Ju-suk wanted to stop cooperating with Pil-gwang because he would come and kill Chung Jae right now. But Pil-gwang would not let him go so easily. He thought that So-mun had lost all his power now. So he turned to Ju-suk. Pil-gwang wanted to take Ju-suk's soul at this time to increase his power. While he was about to kill Ju-suk, the territory was suddenly summoned. Only then did he realize that So-mun had returned. He continued to want to kill Ju-suk, but was resisted by him. Ju-suk's power increased greatly when he had the territory. Ju-suk lifted Pil-gwang into the air and threw him aside. The next morning, while Chung Jae was on his way to the prison, Jaepong smelled Ju-suk's scent. So-mun also received the news and quickly went there. The car carrying Chung Jae suddenly lost control, and the driver was none other than Ju-suk. Fortunately, Motak was able to handle it in time to avoid an accident. Ju-suk drove the car that Hana was driving to the side of the road. Next, Ju-suk strangled the three people in the car. Ju-suk turned around and knocked down Motak when he tried to stop him. The two remaining policemen were lifted into the air by Ju-suk. Immediately after, Ju-suk drove the car carrying Chung Jae on. Motak immediately contacted So-mun to report the situation. Sitting in the car, Chung Jae kept begging Ju-suk to spare his life, but Ju-suk didn't care about that. Ju-suk stopped the car next to his wife's cemetery and let the policeman in the car out. After that, Ju-suk closed the door tightly. Ju-suk continued to run the engine, causing smoke to spread everywhere. It seemed like he wanted both of them to die at this moment. Even the demon inside Ju-suk didn't understand what he wanted to do. Chung Jae was panicking, not knowing what was happening. At that moment, Ju-suk's mother was also there when she had just finished visiting Min-ji's grave. She immediately approached and advised her son to stop and leave the car. At that moment, Chung Jae broke the glass door to escape. Ju-suk chased after him, but his mother tried to stop him. He seemed to want to give up because of his mother's advice. But then the demon inside Ju-suk controlled his hand to strangle his mother's neck when he couldn't control himself. The demon said that from now on, this body would no longer belong to Ju-suk. It controlled him to kill his mother, to kill those who hindered its plan. At this moment, So-mun arrived in time to rescue Ju-suk's mother. So-mun rushed to fight Ju-suk. So-mun summoned the territory to start fighting Ju-suk. But So-mun did not know that the territory would help Ju-suk absorb more energy. So-mun seemed unable to withstand the power that Ju-suk had. At the crucial moment, Ju-suk suddenly stabbed herself. So-mun still did not understand what was happening, but Ju-suk quickly escaped. While Chung Jae was in the hospital, Pil-gwang came here. He came to take Chung Jae's head. On the other side, So-mun summoned the territory to communicate with Jusuk. So-mun informed Jusuk that his mother was fine so that he would not feel regretful. At the same time, everyone erased all the bad memories for her. So-mun knew that those actions were not what Jusuk wanted. So-mun hoped that he would stop and return to the way he was before. After hearing all those heartfelt words, Jusuk wanted to see So-mun at this time. Inside, the demon still tried to stop him from doing that but couldn't. It slowly sank into the dark swamp. That day, Pilgwang went to the newsroom himself. He threw Chungjae's head on the floor. He came here to reveal all the truth about the real estate scam, Chungjae's death, or the death of Jusuk's wife. Pilgwang wanted the TV station to broadcast this interview live so that everyone would know, including Jusuk. Here, Pilgwang admitted that he killed Chungjae, including Minji's death. Just a moment later, Jusuk was there. Pilgwang's purpose was to lure him here. Jusuk controlled the guns to shoot down the cameras that were recording. Then he grabbed Pilgwang's neck and pulled him towards him. His anger seemed to reach its peak when Jusuk remembered Minji again. He lifted Pilgwang into the air, and Pilgwang also admitted that he was the one who did it all. Jusuk broke Pilgwang's neck, much to everyone's horror. Jusuk then proceeded to suck his soul. The demon inside Jusuk began to rise again, but now there were two demons, and one of them was Pilgwang's soul. Pilgwang's soul killed the previous demon. It seemed that this was his way of controlling Jusuk's body forever. Jusuk no longer existed, because Pilgwang was the one who had taken over this body. Immediately after, he murdered two policemen with just a blink of an eye. Everyone around saw this and ran away in panic. He then left with a sinister smile on his face. A moment later, Pilgwang's body was taken out. Hana and So-mun had just arrived. The two were stunned when they learned that the body was Pilgwang's. They also fully understood what had just happened. Returning to the young world, Wei-Jen believed that Pilgwang was not dead. He sacrificed his body to enter Jusuk's body. At that moment, Pilgwang began to control all of Jusuk's powers. At the same time, Jusuk's soul had already been absorbed by Pilgwang's demon. People called it a complete demon. He not only used the power of the territory, but also could hide within it. He had the ability to find demon hunters through the territory. Using the territory had now become extremely dangerous. Wei-Jen thought that the only solution was to destroy him immediately, not capture him alive. Returning to the base, So-mun expressed that he really didn't want to kill the demon in Jusuk's body. He just wanted to capture it alive and free the innocent souls trapped within. Motok immediately opposed this, arguing that if Pilgwang wasn't stopped right away, there would be many more innocent victims. Everyone agreed to destroy Pilgwang. However, So-mun wanted to go against the majority. He still aimed to rescue Jusuk's soul. This decision made Motok extremely angry because in his view, they had no other choice. On the other side, Pilgwang returned and summoned the territory. His power had now reached its peak. He could heal his wounds and was preparing for his upcoming dark plans. The next morning, So-mun was still determined to save Jusuk's soul. To achieve that, he wanted Hana to help him enter Jusuk's mind. The two then went to a deserted place, and So-mun began to summon the territory. Pilgwang was able to see him through the territory. The moment So-mun fainted, he had already entered Jusuk's mind. Inside, Pilgwang suddenly appeared in Jusuk's body and pulled So-mun into it. So-mun found himself trapped beneath the dark swamp. Immediately afterward, Pilgwang suddenly dragged him further into the swamp, attempting to kill So-mun right there. Outside, Hana also felt something was wrong. So-mun was now trying to escape from Pilgwang's grasp but couldn't. Suddenly, a light source shone into Pilgwang's eyes, and the person who helped So-mun was Jusuk. Taking advantage of that opportunity, So-mun quickly escaped outside. That night, Motok and his subordinate were patrolling the Beidou construction office. Motok felt something was wrong, so he told the subordinate to go out and call for help. He then quietly went inside to check. He was startled when he heard the subordinate calling from behind. The subordinate said that there was a body here. Motok went to check but found nothing. At this time, the subordinate had already pointed a gun at his head with the intention of leaving this world. Motok saw this and immediately jumped to stop the subordinate. It turned out that those actions were controlled by Pilgwang. He slowly approached with a provocative tone. Motok immediately pulled out his gun to fight back but couldn't be faster than him. The subordinate was also thrown away by him. Motok saw this and continuously shot at Pilgwang, but it had no effect. The bullets slowly fell out, making Motok extremely stunned. Pilgwang easily knocked Motok down. Then he rushed forward and slashed Motok many times. At the moment, he was about to kill Motok. On the other side, the subordinate shot him once. Pilgwang angrily stabbed the subordinate with a fatal knife and dragged his body towards him. Taking that opportunity, Motok successfully escaped because he knew he wasn't strong enough to fight Pilgwang. Returning to the base, Motok equipped himself with everything to confront Pilgwang. So-mun immediately tried to stop him. So-mun talked about how Jusuk's soul was still there, and he wanted to convince Jusuk to fight against the evil Pilgwang. But before So-mun could finish speaking, he was punched by Motok. Motok couldn't wait any longer. When Pilgwang had just killed his subordinate, Motok didn't want to see him kill any more innocent people. He promised himself that he would kill Pilgwang. But when Motok and Hana arrived, Pilgwang was nowhere to be found. The subordinate's body had also disappeared. That morning, So-mun sat thinking about what had happened. He remembered the good memories with Jusuk, then remembered what Motok had said. So-mun now had two conflicting thoughts. On the other side, Motok received news that his subordinate was now in the hospital. The two quickly went there. Luckily, his subordinate was still alive. Hana immediately read the subordinate's memories. It turned out that the subordinate was alive because Jusuk had saved him when Jusuk was not controlled by Pilgwang. On this side, Jipong smelled the scent of a demon and immediately vomited. He sensed that Jusuk was somewhere nearby. Everyone in the group also grasped that information, so they all quickly returned to the base. When Pilgwang arrived at the group's base, there was no one in sight. The three of them were now hiding under the fighting floor. Because the smell was too strong, Jipong could not bear it anymore and accidentally made a sound. Feeling exposed, Mei Ok jumped out to confront Pilguang, but he defeated her very easily. Seeing this, Zhangmo rushed out but could not do anything. Jupong was left alone. He quickly went to activate the house's self-destruct system, but before he could press the button, Pilguang stopped him. He pulled Jupong towards him and grabbed his neck. At that moment, Somun returned in time, and Somun was the person Pilguang was waiting for. Somun immediately summoned his territory and rushed to attack Pilguang. Pilguang quickly stood up and fought back, but it seemed that Somun was no match for him. Pilguang was now too strong for Somun to fight. He began strangling everyone present. Somun used all his strength to stop Pilguang. Wei Jian told Somun and everyone to leave quickly as they could not fight Pilguang. Somun immediately activated the self-destruct system of the house and quickly brought everyone outside. When the door slowly closed, only Somun was left inside. He wanted to stay and fight Pilguang because there was no other choice now. Pilguang pulled Somun toward him and strangled him. He beat Somun mercilessly. Somun could only endure the pain and could do nothing. At that moment, the members of the group opened the iron door. Hana used her superpower to hold Pilguang back, and Motok rushed to punch him. Here, Motok changed the plan. Everyone would no longer kill Pilguang, but capture him alive. The clock now had only 4 minutes left, time for everyone to defeat him and escape safely. Immediately after that, everyone attacked Pilguang, one by one, making him unable to resist. When he was pushed to the wall, he still used all his strength and created a big explosion that pushed everyone away. The members quickly stood up to subdue Pilguang. The strength of both sides was very balanced. Hana wanted Somun to enter his mind to summon Pilguang's demon inside. To do that, Somun had to summon the territory, which meant Pilguang would increase his power from the territory. But that was the only way at the moment. Somun summoned the territory and began to infiltrate inside. Outside, everyone was trying their best to stall for time. Somun went inside to search for Jusuk's soul, but he was nowhere to be found, only Pilguang's silhouette. The two immediately started fighting. Somun continued to be held by the neck by him. He grabbed Somun's neck and lifted him into the air. Outside, he did the same to the remaining members. Everyone could do nothing more and slowly collapsed. Inside, Somun was the same. He could not fight against the power Pilguang had. It seemed like the fight was over, but no. Somun's tears saved everyone. It created a huge shock that affected Pilguang both inside and outside his subconscious. That light was the nemesis that he was always afraid of. Outside, Jusuk had returned, and he had escaped Pilguang's control. Seeing everyone suffering on the floor, he wanted to end this fight. Jusuk threw himself into the sharp iron bar to leave this world by himself, along with Pilguang's soul in his body. He had been completely restrained now, so Moon immediately summoned Pilguang's soul. His soul slowly disappeared into the endless space. When everything was under Somun's control, the clock outside also stopped. Hana wondered why Somun still didn't want to escape from there. At this time, Somun was still looking for Jusuk's soul. He saw bright lights inside an abandoned apartment. Somun slowly walked inside, and everything was completely different from the outside. This was Jusuk's imaginary home, and he was still sitting there alone. Even though Somun tried to persuade Jusuk to escape, he didn't want to. He wanted to stay because his family was here. Somun didn't want to abandon Jusuk. He shed tears and said everything he felt. He wanted to protect Jusuk and see Jusuk continue to live. When the house began to collapse, it was also the time when the two of them escaped safely. Mei-ok immediately erased all of Jusuk's dark memories. Soon after, Somun brought Pilguang to meet Wei Jian. She locked him inside the door of hell, where he would rot. As soon as Pilguang entered, other demons rushed to tear his body apart. On this side, Motok was taking Jusuk to the police station to confess. His mother also came to see him off, but Jusuk couldn't say anything. He choked up tears instead of apologizing. That night, the territory in the prison was suddenly summoned. Jusuk entered another world, where he could meet Minji again. The two of them hugged each other tightly. It was as if time had returned to Jusuk. That was the territory that Somun created. He wanted Jusuk to be strong and live on, because Minji would always be by his side no matter where. After life returned to peace, and there were no more demons here, Somun wanted to go abroad. He wanted to go everywhere to continue his demon hunting journey. Although everyone didn't want to leave Somun, they couldn't stop him. 6 months passed, and that day, Hana accidentally passed by Dosik's music room. She just stood outside quietly looking at him, but as soon as she left, Dosik appeared right in front of her. He didn't remember anything about Hana anymore. He came to introduce her about the upcoming piano class. The young man John now passed the graduation exam. Today, he brought his diploma to show Mei-ok. She was really happy about this. She always wanted John to become a good person, and now he did it. She had seen John as her own son. All the members were living positively and happily. Everyone kept thinking about Somun, the young leader of the group. Somun is now active in Germany. He has helped the demon hunting community around the world grow more and more. Today, he met a beautiful waitress. This was not a coincidence, but his intention. Somun immediately contacted Wei Jian to give her a big surprise. He wanted her to close her eyes and wait for that surprise. When Wei Jian opened her eyes, the waitress was standing in front of her, and that was her daughter. Wei Jian could not contain her emotions at this moment. The mother and daughter hugged each other in happiness. That night, the demon hunting group continued their mission. They went to the amusement park to summon demons. Suddenly, the territory was summoned. Everyone realized that Somun had returned. He slowly walked out, making everyone extremely happy. After that, the group together put down these evil demons. Above is the entire content of the movie. Thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye, and see you again in the next videos. Bye.